Everything all right?
Take me back to my country.
Princess, I'm sorry, but General Kane has taken control of your country and assumed command of its government.
But I must go back.
And you will, as soon as we find a legal way to remove him. In the meantime, you have to let us protect you.
But what about my mother? Who's protecting my mother?
You are. As long as you're in princess protection, your mother will be safe.
That actually confirmed something for me.
What?
Legal way to remove him.
Yeah.
That confirms the end for me.
Oh.
Yeah, like he was kidnapping, and so like they had to grab him.
No, it worked out perfectly well because of some good Scooby-Dooing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Val.
Hey, Al.
Welcome to D-Commentaries.
Thank you. Welcome to you and welcome to our listeners. Today, we're talking about the Princess Protection Program.
The PPP.
What's funny is they introduced it as the International Princess Protection Program, but it's not IPPP. It's just PPP.
Yeah, because Val, that sounds funny.
IPPP.
IPPP.
And if this were written by Dan Berenson,
it would have been.
It would have been the IPPP.
That's funny.
So thank goodness it wasn't.
This was a fun time.
Oh, it was such a fun time. It was such a fun time. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I'm just going to come right out and say it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it. Yeah.
Me too. Because this one felt like a movie.
It felt like a movie, and it also felt like an old school DCOM.
Yes.
Like, even from the opening credits, it felt like an old school DCOM. I wrote, like, literally the first thing I wrote was, oh, my hopes are up. This feels like an old school DCOM.
Thank you for rescuing us, Selena and Demi.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And the directing and writing team, which I will now get to. Segue. The Princess Protection Program came out May 20th, 2009. So just a month after the last one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're celebrating its anniversary recording.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I mean, we're going to come out a little bit after, but yeah.
We're recording on the anniversary. Next to the anniversary. The anniversary for us is tomorrow.
Yes, adjacent to the anniversary. That's right. You're right. It was directed by Allison Liddy Brown. I could have sworn that she had directed another DCOM, but she has not. So I just imagined that. But she directed some episodes of Alex Mack. But she's basically a very prolific TV actor, or TV director. So she did a bunch of other like kids shows, like one episode of them. But then she also directed several episodes of the following: Las Vegas, Army Wives, Friday Night Lights, CSI Miami, CSI New York, Private Practice, Bones, Parenthood, Scandal, Grey's Anatomy, and The Good Doctor. So so
around.
She's still working. Definitely, solid director, which I felt that in this movie.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. In fact, I think this might have been the only movie on her entire resume.
Oh, wow. That makes me sad she doesn't come back.
Yeah, I know. Granted, it was a TV movie, so it's still in her oeuvre, but like she's definitely a TV director, and that's cool.
Yeah.
This had a 2-person writing team. It was written by Annie DeYoung, who also wrote Johnny Capahala Back on Board, Return to Halloween Town, and Starstruck, which we have not watched yet. I think it's the next movie, actually. And then she was joined by David Morgeson, who did not write much of anything else. So my instinct is like maybe he wrote like the initial like treatment of the movie, and then Annie came in because obviously she has a DCOM resume and kind of like decommed it up.
Nice.
But I didn't love Return to Halloween Town, but that was less about the writing. I like her style better than I like some of these other writers of this era. So I think that's probably why part of why I enjoyed this movie more than some of the other ones in this time period.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. This is a big cast. So here we go. Demi Lovato played Princess Rosalina Maria Montoya Fiore, or Rosie Gonzalez, as she was known undercover. She was in Camp Rock. She will be in Camp Rock 2. Also, aside from DCOMs, she got her start in Barney. She's obviously done a lot of music videos because she's a musician, singer. And she also does voice for Smurfs, among other things. Yeah. Selena Gomez played Carter Mason. Weirdly enough, she also got her start on Barney.
They were like knew each other.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, they had great chemistry, so I'm not shocked to find that out. She was the star in Wizards of Waverly Place. So that's like her big like start thing.
Which is confirmed coming back, I did find out.
Wow, that's cool.
It's about David Henry's family.
Interesting. And Selena Gomez more recently has been in Only Murders in the Building.
Yes. Season 4 is coming out.
I love that show. I haven't watched the most recent season or maybe the most recent 2 seasons, but the first season was awesome.
Yeah. I feel like they're stretching it on a little too long now, but I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that.
Maybe. I obviously can't speak to it yet, but I do feel like it's one of those shows that the first season could have been the only season and it would have been like perfectly like self-contained in a miniseries. But I get why they like elongated it because it was so popular and such a kind of
it's just an all-star cast.
I know.
Just
and
they just keep getting cast is incredible.
I know. And like what a fun combo, like with Steve Martin and Martin Short with Selena Gomez. And they have such great chemistry. Like it's so fun. And then she's also a singer, so she has a bunch of music videos as well on her resume.
And she's a businesswoman.
Then we have Tom Verica as Major Joe Mason. So that's Selena's dad. Hot dad, cool dad, hot dad, cool dad.
Hot dad. with cool dad.
Very cool. Very hot.
Even his voice.
I know, he's great.
I need him to read me some spicy books. Okay.
When he came in, like actually for that scene with the cold open that we just read, he comes in like he's changed back into like a t-shirt and jeans and it's just very cash and he just looks great.
I want this man's origin story.
I know. How did he become the major of the Princess Protection Program? So he's a character actor. He's been in tons of stuff. But he had some longer runs on a couple shows I'd never heard of, which were early in his career, one called CPW and one called The Naked Truth. And then more recently, well, I guess this wasn't that recent. He was on American Dreams with Brittany Snow, who you might know from Pitch Perfect. I believe he's the dad in that show. Okay. I've seen like a couple episodes here and there. And then more recently, he was on How to Get Away with Murder, playing opposite Viola Davis as her husband, which was very fun.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Did you watch that show?
I watched the first season.
Okay.
And then again, it kind of got like a little too crazy. Like it went the way of Scandal rather than the way of Grey's Anatomy for me. And like, I mean, Grey's Anatomy is crazy, but like in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know if I'm on board with this anymore, but I obviously liked Viola Davis in it. And I thought it was like, you know, well acted all around. And he's an interesting character in that. So yeah, he's getting work. He's doing well. And he's awesome in this. Sully Diaz played Queen Sofia Fiore, and her entire resume was like Spanish language shows, movies. Like she has a really long resume, but like nothing that I recognized because she's not working in the United States, but she's obviously very successful. And I like that they cast like actual Spanish speaking actors rather than just like random, you know, people. So I thought that was cool. Johnny Ray Rodriguez played General Magnus Kane. The only thing that I noticed on his resume that I recognized was Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He was in like a couple episodes of that. He had other stuff on his resume, but nothing that I knew. Then we have Jamie Chung playing Chelsea Barnes, the sort of bully Regina George of this movie. She's done a ton of soap opera stuff, like tons of episodes of Days of Our Lives. She was also a voice in Big Hero 6, which I thought was really cool. I love that movie. Such an underrated Pixar movie. She was on Once Upon a Time, Gotham, The Gifted, Lovecraft Country. So she's also still working. Like,
yeah. She
active.
Also got her start on The Real World, San Diego in 2004.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
So she must have been on the older side during this movie then. Interesting. She pulled off High Schooler really well.
Yeah. I was shocked to see her because because I'm a Real World fan. So like, I know. Okay. And so then seeing her, I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. And she's so like cool. A real world success story of like being on it and like, you know, having a career out of it.
Having an acting career. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's a good actor. I thought she was really fun.
Yeah, she's really great. She's also married to, it's Brian Greenberg. And he's the hot guy in.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know who you're talking about.
The biggest thing I would say that I could say is Bride Wars.
Yeah. I know him from, well, he was on One Tree Hill, but I know him from, maybe it's Prime.
Junction Prime, Already Tomorrow in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I think that's how they met.
You'd recognize him for sure. He's been in stuff.
He's so hot. And so is Jamie Chung. I mean, they are gorgeous.
Yeah. No, together.
They had twins.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And everyone, this is why I should be on Pop Culture Jeopardy. Okay.
That's right. Then we have the return of Nicholas Braun.
Yeah. What a shock.
Was in not one, but two DComs. He played Ed, the guy who has a crush on Carter the entire time, and she doesn't understand that he has a crush on her. You might recognize him from Minutemen. And he is also in Sky High, the 10 Things I Hate About You television show, something called Poor Paul, the movie Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and of course, Succession.
Cousin Greg.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Robert Adamson playing Donnie, the like hot guy who Carter initially has a crush on. He's also been in a lot of soap operas, not super shocking. He was in The Young and the Restless, General Hospital. He was also in something called Lincoln Heights, Hollywood Heights. I've never heard of any of these things, but he was in them. Then we had Samantha Droke as Brooke. I believe that's like the sidekick of
Jamie Chung.
Chelsea. Yeah, Jamie Chung's character. She is mostly a voice actor, which I kind of get because she has kind of this like high-pitched like child voice. And she was in Horton Here's a Who, Poor Paul, which also Nicholas Braun was in, weirdly enough, and some other stuff, but I didn't write anything else down. Kevin G. Schmid played Bull, who is like the guy who like sabotages the ice cream shop, you know, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
The reason I bring him up, because he hasn't been in a ton of stuff, was he was also in Poor Paul and The Young and the Restless. So there's like some overlap here between some of these people, which is interesting. So Molly Hagan played the director of PPP, putting on a very interesting Eastern European accent of some kind, which I thought it was a cool move to make an Eastern European accent not a villain.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're always villains. She has been in tons of stuff. Like you would absolutely recognize her face if you saw her. Some notables. Well, first of all, she was the mom in Miracle in Lane 2. So we've seen her in a DCOM before. She was also in Herman's Head, Life's Work, Unfabulous, No Good Nick, Walker. Walker's the one that she was most recently in. That's the one with what's his face from Supernatural. And Dean from Gilmore Girls. I know you don't know.
Milo Ventimiglia?
No. That is, oh my God. What is his character's name on Gilmore Girls? No, Jesse. Thank you. So that's Molly Hagan. And then Dale Dickey plays Helen DeGenerstedt, which I thought was hilarious that her last name was DeGenerstedt. Helen DeGenerstedt. She's the bus driver / I guess hairstylist. I absolutely recognized her immediately. She's also a pretty prolific character actor. She was on True Blood. She was in the movie Hell or High Water. She was on the show Vice Principals, Unbelievable, Palm Springs, the movie, Claws, and more recently, A League of Their Own, the show.
Nice.
Yeah, so she's been
also going back one person. Molly Hagan was in an episode of Friends.
Of course she was. So that's the cast. Solid, really good cast.
Solid cast,
I think. Yeah. The synopsis is as follows. When her kingdom is threatened, a young princess is taken into the Princess Protection Program. She is relocated to, incorrect already. She is relocated to rural Wisconsin. That is not correct. Where she stays with a covert agent and his daughter and must learn how to behave like a normal teenager. So I'm getting the sense that a lot of these synopses are written by English people because of the like syntax and stuff. And only someone who does not live in the United States could somehow confuse Wisconsin and Louisiana.
True.
Like literally the opening credits are over like alligators and like the bayou. Like there is no way to mistake, like to think that that's Wisconsin at all. That is so funny that that's what it says. Anyway, one fun fact, and I thought this was really interesting. Originally, Selena and Demi were cast in the opposite parts, and then they decided to switch. And I think that it worked so much better the way that it was. Like, I thought 100%. That they were great. Like, I'm sure they would have done fine in the other parts, but like, I particularly loved Selena as Carter. I thought she like really nailed that part. And it's not to say she wouldn't have played Rosie well, but I thought she just was really good at that part. So yeah, I'm glad they switched. Okay. That is the business complete. Hey, Al.
Hey, Val.
Did you have any, I mean, we've already basically talked about this, but did you have any first impressions of this movie?
Yeah. I think that I watched this for the first time during lockdown.
Oh, okay.
Or close to. Like, I've watched it either between like 2018 and 2021. But I do think that it was one of the ones that I chose to watch in lockdown. I like this movie a lot. I think everyone is likable. They cast it well. Such a good plot. Like, there were a couple things that I would, tweak here and there. But overall, big fan. I'm going to give this one an 8.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think it's a good movie. I would watch this again for sure. This is a good, like, on in the background and can sit down and, like, just watch again.
Totally.
Big fan. Val, first impressions?
Thanks, Al. Yeah, I'd never seen this, and you had definitely gotten my hopes up because you were like, I think you're going to like this one better. And I definitely did. I think this harkens back to what I've been talking about in the old DCOMs that I love, which is that it treats the viewer like an adult. It is not doing a bunch of fart jokes to try and make them laugh. It is just a great story performed by solid actors. And that's all you need to appeal to a teenager or tween, right? Like, you don't need to be like doing all these crazy, like the cat, like all of that stuff. Like, you don't need that stuff. And this is perfect evidence of it because it's like such a fun movie to watch. It's really entertaining. It's really interesting. It makes sense the whole way through. There's not like a super convoluted plot or anything like that. There's not like multiple plots for some stupid reason. It's just like, this is what's happening. It makes sense what's happening. And we're going through the steps of like how this plays out. It's got from the smallest character to the largest, great like development of those characters. And yeah, I was fully engrossed in this story and like cared about what was going to happen and what was happening. And even if I sort of like picked up on what might have been happening, especially towards the end, I didn't feel like I could just write this whole movie myself.
Yeah.
I thought it was like still, twisty and turny a little bit. And it was really fun. And you could tell they were having fun doing it. So yeah. Enjoyable.
I liked that it didn't, I mean, this is a spoiler, but whatever. I like that it didn't take them too long to change their narrative about each other.
Yes.
It wasn't at the very end where we changed that we like each other. It was halfway through, and then now we're friends, and now we're doing this together. And I liked that.
But it made sense, right? Like, it was organic, the way that it because at first it was like pure hatred for no reason. Then it was sort of like resentment because things are going really well for her and she's not trying.
Right.
And then it was like, but I begrudgingly really like you because you were actually a good person. And then it was just full blown right? Like it like made sense, the progression of their feelings for each other.
And I was worried it was going to be a big problem with the dad because they kept honing that in of like, it's the two of us, it's the two of us. And I was worried that was going to be, our narrative through the whole movie. And it wasn't. And it was really nice.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
Great movie. Yeah. Super fun. So Al, I'd love to hear if you had any favorite quotes or moments.
Yeah, I had a few. I feel like I was like paying attention a lot. And so I didn't like write down too much in terms of quotes.
I didn't either.
But we have Ed saying bossy. I like bossy. And then when Rosie walks in for the first time, can I have this seat? And then the hot bully guy goes, sorry, it's school property. And then him and his friend go, and they like high five. And then he looks at his friend and he goes, what? She's hot. I just thought that was a fun interaction.
Yep.
When they go bowling and Ed works at the bowling alley and he goes, hi ladies, what'll it be? And she goes, bowling, please. He was standing at like the shoe counter. And then toward the end, Brooke, one of the girl goons, she goes, what? I'm pretty, not smart. And I wrote that down because in my head, it sounded like, what? I'm pretty, not smart.
Which is also true.
Which is also true. And relatable. And then my two favorite moments were when they're sitting on like the swing outside and they like Demi Lovato burps. And then it's like obviously fake burp. And then they laugh so hard, but you can tell that they were just having so much fun in that scene together. And I think they used that as a promo for it.
I'm sure.
Like the laugh after. And then Nicholas Braun's hair at Homecoming was my other favorite thing. It was like, he's got like long hair in the show and it's like slick back with a comb, but then like tucked behind his ears. It was so bad.
It was awful.
It was so bad. Val, favorite quotes or moments?
Yeah, I have a few. I, like you, was also paying kind of close attention, so I wasn't like writing stuff a lot, but okay, here's one. A normal dad would go to another country on a secret mission and bring his daughter back a t-shirt, not a person.
I was going to write that down and I was like, I don't want to go back to write it down, but that is one of my faves too.
It's democracy. We're into voting here. They're having like an argument and Demi's character says like, I order you to stop or something. And then Selena's character goes, I order you to take a long walk off a short pier. At one point, the Chelsea says, I'd rather eat carbs than see her wearing my crown. Which is a very that time period like thing to say.
Yep.
She also says, I forget exactly what she's referring to, but she says she's talking to her co-goon and she says, you lost that privilege when you lost the princess crown to Bait Girl and her weirdly formal cousin. Her weirdly formal cousin. I just thought that was so funny. And then the last one I have was, no one's wearing berets this year.
Silly.
And as far as favorite moments, oh, actually, I wrote down something that I really liked. There's a sort of choreographed scene at the towards the beginning of like a breakfast happening at their house.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the first morning that Rosie, Demi's character, is there for breakfast. And she's just sort of like sitting, like waiting to be served, basically, because she doesn't know anything else. And they come in and it's like a whirlwind, right? And it's like one of those fun things that I'm sure the director like worked with the actors to like literally choreograph, because they're like crossing each other and like sharing like, you know, juice and cereal and like all this stuff. And it happens in like 30 seconds. And I just thought it was a really fun detail that looked really cool and was like a very quick way to illustrate the way their life is. And show the contrast with Demi's way of living really effectively in a very short period of time. And it was also illustrative of how much fun everyone was having in this movie, both in front of and behind the camera, because I thought that was like a really fun little detail. So yeah, that was my favorite moment.
Nice. That's a good choice.
Thank you. Okay, Al, anything else before we go to Spoiler City?
Oh no, my homecoming dress has already been ripped off. I'm here.
Stuck in a car door.
Stuck in a car door. And it happens to be convertible, just like I imagined the two of us driving topless into Spoiler City.
Wow. Perfect.
Friends. All right. Welcome to Spoiler City, where I spoil the movie. We open up on Selena Gomez. Her name is Carter. And she's working in the bait shop in Louisiana. That she runs with her dad. Her dad owns and she helps run it. And the cute guy she has a crush on, Donnie, comes and he doesn't remember her name. And that is a trend throughout the entire movie. So I might not mention it again. Just remember that it happens. He said he'd drive her to school in exchange for like some bait. But then the bully girls are in there, which is Chelsea and Brooke. And so she's like, I don't really want to do this. And so she ends up taking the bus. So then actually, she doesn't end up taking the bus. Hot dad drives her to school. Okay. Hot dad. And when he is like driving her to school, he gets a phone call for routine op. So he is some sort of agent, CIA, FBI. We find out what it is a little bit later. And then we cut to Princess Rosalina, which is Demi Lovato, whose coronation is 1 month away. And she's next in line for the throne. We find out because her dad has passed away. And Hot Dad is here. So this was his operation to protect as his own daughter. I did think that the like protecting her as his own daughter would come back a little bit, as mentioned previously, but it doesn't. But then as they're practicing for the coronation, General Magnus Kane comes to stop the practice coronation and says, she's too young to be king and I should be president. And he kind of like attacks everyone. But then Hot Dad saves the day, rescues Rosie out of there. And Magnus Kane is kind of like taking over.
It's a coup. It's
a coup. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. But her mom had a feeling something like this would happen. So she already made plans for Rosie to hide. And so Rosie goes with Hot Dad. She gets dropped off at a very like TV show Lost looking cave where they're like on a beach and they walk into this like metal door. And we find out it is the International Princess Protection Program, the PPP, or to us, the IPPP, if it were Dan Davidson. And basically the PPP is a top secret society paid for by the royal family or families of the world to protect all of the princesses from whatever they may need protection from. And we kind of see this mini montage through the headquarters of the 4 steps. And she has to do this and that and change her look and get a new name and blah, 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 blah. She refuses to do the final step, which is transform, until she talks to Hot Dad, Major Mason. And he convinces her that if she stays hidden, then her mom and her kingdom will be safe. I also didn't mention that like their kingdom is like kind of like Genovia if it were like on an island. Like it is a very small island. No one really knows about it. So it's just kind of like island town, I would assume, off the coast of somewhere near Cuba.
Yeah, I got like a Cayman Islands vibe, except for the fact that they were speaking Spanish. But
that's why
like
I'm thinking near Cuba, and they kept saying Caribbean blue for like things, and so
right,
somewhere down there,
somewhere over there, yeah. And it was as if like the island, like let's just say all the Cayman Islands were their own nation, and then like someone who had already overtaken one of the islands then came to like another one of the islands and led a coup. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, and now he wants to rule like all of them or whatever.
Yeah.
So then she gets transformed into Rosie Gonzalez. She is Selena Gomez's cousin, is what they're going to say. And they have to relocate to Louisiana, living with Hot Dad and Carter. Carter comes home and is excited. Dad's home. She comes home from school and she runs into her room, drops off her backpack, and Rosie goes, hi. And she goes, hi. And then goes, wait. And she's like, this is awkward. Like, who are you? I don't know who you are. So at this point, it does seem that Selena Gomez is aware that her dad works for Princess Protection. So it's kind of like being like, I know I can't talk about it, but I know my dad's in the FBI or something, you know? So she knows that he's Princess Protection. And Dad says, like, she has to stay here for her protection, for her country, for herself, for her family. And, like, you have to say she's your cousin. And Carter is, like, upset at first. And Carter is bitter and Rosie is entitled. So Rosie hasn't broken out of this expecting people to do things for her. She's very proper, but also doesn't know how to do things because she never learned how to do them. So then we have our chaotic breakfast, which Val mentioned. And then they go to school. She's like, where are you going? School. You're 16. You have to go to school. And then I wrote Nicholas Braun, our sweet, I want a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes. And that just describes our sweetie pie, Nicholas Braun. And he's filming a documentary of from peasant to like queen of like the story of the homecoming, becoming a princess for homecoming, becoming queen.
Did you just real quick, did you think that his footage was somehow going to like out Rosie? Because I definitely thought that was going to be a thing.
Maybe I did. Yeah.
Because I was like, oh no.
Right. He's going to like post a documentary on YouTube or something.
Exactly.
And then,
Right.
But the thing that I was thinking about more was whenever they would cut to his footage throughout the movie, I was like, whoa, why does it look like that now? And then I'd be like, oh, it's because they were looking through his thing. I was like, how did they leave that in there? That was on purpose. So then he makes a comment of like, could this be the queen to Carter? And then he says the same thing to Rosie when she comes off the bus. And she's like, actually, oh yeah, like I'm going to be the queen. And he goes, oh, okay. So then we cut to class and she's good at French. She knows 6 languages. And I actually understood a lot of what she was saying because it was elementary.
Me too.
It was like introduction
I was
to
like,
French.
yes, I know what's going on.
I know all of the languages she speaks. I don't remember them now, but I do in the moment. So she's just like good in school too. And everyone seems to like her and the people think she's pretty and everyone's kind of just like obsessed with her. And I wrote, I could tell this will cause a problem from being a star and Carter is not a star in school.
And it's not like Carter wants to be a star per se, but it's just like nothing comes easily to her and she has a hard time with everything. And the person she likes doesn't like her back. So she's just kind of resentful. Yeah.
And she works really hard and she like is definitely more blue collar as opposed to the white collar of Rosie.
Or the gold collar, maybe.
With a gold collar. Then we cut to Magnus Kane back in her home country. And he's going to be like king. He's going to be president. He's going to rule. And he's like flirting with mom a little bit. And we're like, okay. Which comes back later. I was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. But it does. Rosie ends up sitting alone in the cafeteria after figuring out the cafeteria because it was like, what's a hamburger? And like cutting in line. And so I wrote LOL, just like super dumb of like trying to figure out like food.
Right. She's never seen a hamburger before. Like, no, come on.
Yeah. Then the homecoming announcement, which is that you'll vote for princesses and then you'll vote for queen or like nominate someone to be a princess. And then if they get picked to be a princess, then they can be nominated or win for queen. Rosie stands up and nominates Carter for homecoming queen. And then they get in a little bicker fight. She's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then we cut to home. It's like the weekend and we have chores day. And so Carter kind of like sabotages Rosie and all the worms in the bait shop fall on her, which was very funny. They hand placed those worms right on her body.
They did indeed.
But then Rosie is kind of picking up on like not feeling super at home. And so she goes and sets up a nice dinner with flower crowns. We never get full context of this, but it seems like all of the stuff that she chose was very important to their mother. Although we never get that context, I think it's implied of Selena was like, we haven't used those in a while. And it just felt very like, these were moms and we're saving them for a special time. But she made them chicken and rice, even though they thought she didn't know how to cook. And
she says her mom was a peasant growing up. She married into the royalty.
Yeah, like Rosie says that about her mom, and that's how she married into, and she is the queen now. And Carter is mad because it must be nice to play peasant for a day.
I thought that was like such a great sort of transition point where like Demi is clearly making an effort and has sort of transitioned from like just sort of being like unaware to like trying. And then Carter is sort of like clinging to her dislike too much in that moment. I thought that was like a really perfect, like, nope, you crossed the line. And she realizes it the second she says it too, which is good.
Yep. Because then we get Rosie telling her story about how her dad died and now her mom is currently being held as a hostage. And so she's in the PPP because she's like needs to take care of her family. And then, so they kind of make up and she's like, okay, like we can start to be friends. And it's still like a little bit rocky for a little bit, but that was like the turning point for sure, as Val mentioned. Then they go bowling. Ed works there. And she's still very princess. She doesn't realize like shoes. She doesn't know her shoe size because all of her shoes are made for her feet.
Which I was also like, wouldn't Selena have like warned her? Because the whole thing is that she's supposed to be acting like a normal teenager. Like, wouldn't she have been like, okay, we're going to get shoes. You're going to have to know what your shoe size is. Like, obviously they were setting this up, but like in reality, like that was very stupid.
Yeah. So she sits on the counter and like Ed puts her shoes on for her. So Ed still likes Carter, but we're like, oh, does he like Rosie instead? Which I think is kind of an interesting dynamic because he's not flirty. He's just very nice.
Right.
And not that Carter gets jealous, but she kind of is like, okay. And then once again, Donnie can't remember her name, but she looks longingly at Donnie, but Ed looks at Carter the way that she looks at Donnie, which is pointed out by Rosie. And she teaches Rosie how to bowl and she gets a strike every time and everyone's obsessed with her. So it's very much like she got everything handed to her and now she's still good at things. So Carter's still a little bit upset. But then the Mean Girls adopt her into their group a little bit. But not so much where she's going to turn on Carter and be a mean girl. It's very, the Mean Girls are trying to sabotage her.
Right. And she's just sort of innocent. Like it's, you know, it's like she's an alien. She like doesn't understand social interactions.
Right. Yeah.
So
she's like, oh, they're just being nice.
Right.
So then she's like, what are you doing tomorrow? And Selena is like, I have a job to do. And she goes, job? What's your job? She goes, you can't have everything that's mine. And so you have to find a different job. So she gets a job at the frozen yogurt place because Chelsea's dad is the ice cream king or the yogurt king. Which I think this part is just, I think this was my least favorite part, only because there's no way without any training, this girl would be the only person there.
I know.
And that just bothered me.
It felt like Chelsea literally took her there when the shop wasn't actually open and just like unlocked the door and put the open sign up to set her up to fail. Right.
Yeah.
Like obviously she didn't talk to her dad or do anything like that. You know what I mean? So I think it was sort of a, like, I agree with you that it's not realistic, but like, I think we were sort of meant to think that like she just did this completely out of like normal channels.
Yeah. And then Ed and Carter are hanging out and he throughout this like calls her princess and calls Rosie princess. And she's like, I just think being a princess is shallow and I want to do something more important with my life. And so we get like a little bit more depth to Carter, and Rosie is alone at the yogurt and struggling. So one of the girls has like, what was his name? Boomer?
Bull.
They have Bull go in and like turn on the yogurt cleaners to sabotage her to make her look dumb. And so then she's like really, she had already been struggling trying to like create the perfect swirl. She finally gets it. And then this happens. But then Ed and Carter show up and they stick it to the bullies
on her behalf because she refuses to react.
Right.
She's like, I am not a fool, so no one can make me one, which I actually thought was a very cool way to react.
Yeah. And then they go home and have a heart to heart and they're, you know, they are friends now. Like they are, okay, we're doing this. So then we cut back to Rosie's hometown island, and the bad guy Magnus Kane says he's going to announce an engagement to Rosie's mom because he's trying to get Rosie to contact home because they know that she's hidden somewhere. And he's like, if I announce that I'm engaged to her, then she's going to come try to save her mom and then I can capture her. And then she won't be a problem anymore. And then the princesses for homecoming were announced, the top three, as you guessed it. Chelsea, our Jamie Chung, Carter, a surprise, and an even bigger surprise, Rosie. Crazy. We didn't see that coming. And then Chelsea and Brooke have a popularity disagreement. They kind of have their own asides every once in a while, but they're not super important. The cute guy wants to bring Rosie to homecoming, and she's like, no, but Carter is sad because she wanted to be asked by him. Rosie then teaches Carter how to be a princess because now she's nominated for princess. So we have a little montage. But she says, I never thought what it really means to be a princess, which I feel like this is not similar at all, but it is kind of where all the people who don't understand pageants and pageantry and how they're actually really dedicated to like volunteer work and like all of that. I feel like it's kind of like that, where it's like a lot of people see the surface of like, you wear a lot of makeup and you put on a swimsuit and walk on a stage. And it's like, no, there's so many layers under that. And there's so much dedicated time to the community. And so I feel like that was Selena Gomez's moment of like, oh, okay, I kind of get what princesses do now. So then the girl goon, Brooke, sees this engagement announcement in her like teen magazine, her J14.
Well, she's reading a magazine for a Spanish assignment.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So she sees it in a Spanish language magazine. Otherwise she never.
Okay. And then the Princess Protection Program is freaking out. They're like, oh my God, we got to do something. So then the girl goons try to get Rosie and Carter to drop out of being a princess because they, want to win. And they blackmail Rosie. And she drops out, but she says, I'll drop out if Carter gets to stay in. And they're like, fine. And they destroy their dresses. And then the magazine worked because now Rosie wants to go back. And Carter's like, you can't go back. That is bad. That's exactly what they want you to do. And she's like, you don't understand. So then Carter somehow calls the island, gets in contact with Mr. Elegante. I don't believe you're just going to call and be like, hi, I want to talk to Mr. Elegante. That's not how that works. But she does it. And she is like, hey, I need 2 dresses. And Carter is kind of concocting this like plan in her brain of how they're going to
Scooby-Dooing.
They're Scooby-Dooing and saving Rosie. So then we have a montage of Carter trying to help and like homecoming and setting up all of these princess classes for other girls.
All the nerdy girls.
All the like nerdy girls. And so Mr. Elegante sent 2 dresses. One is pink, one is blue. The pink one is Demi's going to wear. The blue one, Selena's going to wear.
But he tells Magnus Kane that he only shows him the blue one. And he says he's making the blue one for Demi.
Yes. So then all of the girls come over for homecoming and they're all like getting dressed with their hair, makeup. They're all at, the Louisiana bait shop and they are all going to wear masks. And so you're like, okay, what's going on? And Donnie tries to get Carter finally. And he's like, I've always known who you are. And she's like, no, I've known you since 3rd grade. You forget my name every time. Like, stop. You're annoying. And so we're like, okay, bye, Donnie. And then Brooke, the girl goon, stands up to Chelsea, Jamie Chung, and she's like, you suck. So then Chelsea is like going to look for, she's the one who gets her dress stuck in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So she's got leaves in her hair and she's all haphazard and like, I'm going to be queen. And then Brooke is like, you're mean and annoying.
Yeah. Because there's this really fun moment. This is probably my second favorite moment in the movie where all the nerdy girls get off Dale Dickey's school bus and they're all in their dresses looking hot. They're wearing their masks and all the boys are like, and so Donnie is like not paying any attention and he closes the door on Chelsea's dress and locks his car and she's like stuck and she's like, Donnie. And then he just sort of like unlocks it without looking and she like flies out and like, face plants into the ground. So that's why she's covered in grass and everything.
So funny. So then Chelsea is like looking around for security so that she can be like, you need to like be here and make sure no crazy people come in. But it's not security. It's Magnus Kane and his crew. He's come to homecoming to steal Rosie. And then when they are about to announce the winner, Carter is like, okay, everyone, put on your masks. But Carter was smart enough to have Rosie wear the pink dress and Carter wear the blue dress. So Magnus Kane, when he sees the blue dress, he's like, that's her, but it's actually Carter. So Carter was taken by Magnus Kane. But then we get the announcement of homecoming queen and it's Rosie. Wow, 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 wow. But then they already like left and took Carter. And so it's like, weird. And then Rosie pushes Chelsea in the pool because she's trying to go save Carter because she then realizes what's happening and like why the masks and all these things because Rosie didn't know at first the plan. And so Rosie is like, hey, don't get in that helicopter. I'm going with you. Carter, you can't stop me. And Carter's like, no, they're about to get in the helicopter. But the PPP is inside the helicopter. Hot dad and Russian woman are in there being like, haha, we caught you trying to kidnap, so we legally can arrest you. So then she gives Carter the crown, and then Chelsea comes and steals the crown. And then we go back to normal life. And our normal life is Rosie is then a month later getting inducted as queen. And Ed and Carter are there to support her in her coronation. And that's the end.
It's very sweet.
Yes. It's a cute little movie. Good watch for sure.
For sure. And we close out on a song called Two Worlds Collide by Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah. Not Selena. Which I thought was interesting. Great. Should we play some bingo?
Yeah. Okay, Val, you start.
Okay. One hit wonder song. I don't think so. There's a couple other songs, but I don't think they're one hit wonders.
Okay.
I think they're like legit songs. Let me just double check real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a song by Vitamin C.
Oh.
Definitely not a one hit wonder.
Although Vitamin C does have a song that is a one hit wonder.
That's true. Oh, there's also a song by Mitchell Musso in here.
Wow.
The Girl Can't Help It. Who knew Mitchell Musso was such a active DCOM soundtracker?
I did.
Well, do we want to count Vitamin C then? Because
I kind of do.
Okay, they are in fact a one hit wonder.
One hit wonder artist, at least.
Yeah,
you know, not song
fair enough.
artist.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay.
Breaking the fourth wall or looking into the camera?
No. Holiday themed? No.
Homecoming?
No.
Clunky metaphor?
I mean, like the metaphor of like becoming a princess or a queen, you know, and what that entails, what it actually means, and blah blah blah. I think that would count.
Okay.
Parents who just don't get it. No, in fact,
he gets
all
it.
Parents involved get it.
Yeah. Cool non-parent adult.
Dale Dickey, Helen
yeah.
DeGeneres.
That's so funny.
Someone too famous for a TV movie. Not at this point, I don't think.
They were getting there.
Right, but they weren't like
too famous.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Competition to resolve central problem. Yes, homecoming queen.
Mm-hmm. I'll count it. It's a race.
Mm-hmm.
A montage sequence. Oh, yeah. Fashion
there were
montage.
A few.
We haven't seen one of those in a while.
Yeah. Cliche villains.
Oh, yeah.
Bullies.
And General Kane.
Oh, yeah. Dictators.
Yeah. A dictator. Like, it was so cliche that he was like pinning medals on himself that he didn't actually earn, like as if they were accessories. Like they made a point of like making fun of that. It was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Clothes or items you owned. Okay, so there wasn't a specific item, but Brooke has the front bump, like with the hair.
Yeah.
And I 100% rock the front bump.
Yeah.
So I think we should count that.
That and like every double layer.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's so much layering. And there's also like bedazzled cell phones, which like I didn't have, but so many people had. Like,
I think one of my cell phones I had a
bedazzled flip phone.
Rotten Tomatoes 40 to 60.
Okay, I'm going to go with what I hope that it has, even though I know it's probably too high. 73.
Yeah, it's too high. 60.
Okay.
But that's good.
Okay. Yeah, for
but
DCOM,
we still technically get the box too, because it's 40 to 60.
That's right. Great job. Happily Ever After. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes.
Almost Kissing.
No. None whatsoever.
But this box is making me realize this movie passes the Bechdel test.
It 100% does. Yeah. The first one in a while, I think it does.
Yeah.
Someone who became famous. Many.
Yeah. Good chunk of people in there.
Mm-hmm.
Betraying of one's real friends or values.
I guess you could argue that Carter, like Selena Gomez's character, very briefly kind of
toward the beginning.
Like when she's being so judgmental, especially like at the dinner, like when she kind of like yells at her. I think that could count. It's just very brief. And then she kind of comes back to herself, but we can count it if you want.
I think we count it.
Okay, great. Your childhood crush.
I forgot if we counted Nicholas Brown or not for Minutemen.
Did you have a childhood crush on him?
I don't think I knew he existed.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Either. I have a current crush on him. Can we change it to current crush?
Maybe later. We've talked about like
I know what we need to change this to.
Yeah.
Obviously bad special effects or stunts. The only one that I really notice is the burp.
Oh, the burp. Yeah, the burp and the worms.
Oh, the worms. Yeah.
Disney Channel star. Yes.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yes.
Yep. Musical number. Kind of surprising for having two of them as the leads and no musical number. But
for real.
There wasn't one.
Magic. No.
Nope. Not a lot of science either.
No.
Someone says the title of the movie.
So many times. Scooby-Doo. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up Scooby-Doo.
The heroes create the problem.
No.
No, because it wasn't like the two of them were the heroes. They didn't choose it for themselves.
Right. Not at all. Yeah. Lead is a fish out of water. Yes.
Yes.
Very much so.
Yay. Well, Val, we have a good chunk of squares, but not in the correct order. We have a no bingo today.
I'm shocked. I thought for sure we were going to get multiple bingos on this one.
Yeah, we have a lot of spots open where we just needed one.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I still think this is very representative of like iconic DCOM
100%
style, story, like everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, Val. Well, we've come to our time of today where we're going to play a game. And earlier, you had made the comment, which I was going to make and I didn't because of this game, that Jamie Chung was a little bit older when playing a high school student. So she was 26 when this movie filmed. So this game is, how old were they?
Ooh, love.
Yeah. And so I'm going to give you an actor, what movie they were in, the age that their character was, and you will have to guess how old they were in the role.
Got it.
It's hard, but you do have to get it on the money to get the points. Okay. So if you get 0, that's okay. This is for fun. And for our listeners, keep track. Okay. Number 1, there's 8.
Okay.
Ben Platt and Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh my God.
Evan Hansen is 17. And Ben Platt was how old?
I want to say he was like 29.
So close. He was 27.
Oh,
man. Okay. Zendaya in Euphoria. Rue is 17. Zendaya was how old?
In the first season?
In the first season.
24.
22.
Oh.
It's okay. I feel like going older isn't a bad thing, you know. Okay, here we go. Olivia Newton-John in Grease.
Oh God. I thought you were gonna do what's her face?
Oh, don't worry.
She was like, okay.
So Sandy is 18 and Olivia Newton-John was how old?
Wait, are they all older?
All of these are older.
Okay.
Adults playing teenage students who were in high school.
Okay. So I'm going to guess 20. I'm going to go again. 24.
29.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
I also got this off of one website. I didn't actually check these, so I could be wrong, but I don't know why math would be wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Rachel McAdams in Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Regina George is a junior in high school. How old was Rachel?
I think she was also like, I want to say like 26.
She was 27.
No. Oh, God. I almost said 27.
You almost had it. Okay, here we go. Val was expecting it. Stockard Channing in Grease. Rizzo is 18. How old was Stockard?
I think she was like 32 or something like that.
You're so close, Val. She was 34.
Oh.
She was 34 in that movie. That is insane. We need to make more movies where all of these people, like, cast me in the Grease remake, okay? This is a fun one. Shirley Henderson in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Moaning Myrtle is a teenage student.
Right.
How old was Shirley?
She was like 35.
She was 37.
God damn it. Oh.
You're like so close on all of them. Gabrielle Union in Bring It On.
Oh.
Isis is in high school. I don't think they say what age. How old was Gabrielle?
I just watched 10 Things I Hate About You, and she was like 29 in that. So
obsessed.
I'm going to guess that came out after. Bring It On came out after, I think. So actually, no, I'm second guessing myself. I'm going to guess 30.
She was 28.
Oh, it must have been the year before. Oh, man.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
John Heater in Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, God.
Napoleon is in high school. How old was John?
I'm going to go 29.
He was 26. 0 for 8. But you know what? I made this hard. I could have given you like a 1 or 2 around, and I didn't because I'm evil.
No,
but thanks for playing, Val.
I appreciate a challenge. That was a fun game, despite me losing horrifically.
That's okay.
Thanks, Al.
You're welcome. Oh, Val, what are we watching next?
We are watching Starstruck.
Yay! I've never seen it.
I have never seen it either. Folks, give us a review, rate us on the various social medias, interact with our YouTube videos.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now.
Yeah. Tell a friend, tell your mom, as Al would say. We appreciate all the word of mouth, all the reviews, all the good stuff. It really does help us.
And thank you to everyone who's in the Al and Val protection program.
That's right.
Appreciate you.
Merch coming soon.
Merch coming soon. Or not. Okay. Well, we love you. And I love you, Val.
We love you. And I love you.
Bye, Val.
Bye, Al. This podcast was produced by me.
And me.
And it was edited by me.
The music was composed by Michael McNally.
You can find us online at thetridentnetwork.com/dcommentaries-pod.
And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at dcommentaries.
Dcommentaries is a part of the Trident Network. To learn more about our videos, live shows, and other podcasts, please visit thetridentnetwork.com.
Disney Channel original movies.
Damn it, Allie.